y minería del departamento de
Es más, espérate, nosotros estamos transmitiendo con este. Amigo,
Ágiles procesos de adjudicación, donde la productividad y la responsabilidad social y ambiental van de la mano. La oferta minera se diversifica ahora en los departamentos del Huila y Boyacá, donde se han declarado nuevas áreas estratégicas mineras en zonas con un alto potencial para albergar yacimientos de fosfatos, un mineral esencial para la vida humana. Los fosfatos tienen una creciente demanda como insumo para fertilizantes indispensables en la producción mundial de alimentos, además de numerosos usos industriales. La Agencia Nacional de Minería ha adquirido un profundo conocimiento del territorio, de su geología y de las características sociales, económicas y ambientales, todo lo cual hace posible que aquellos inversionistas interesados puedan desarrollar proyectos responsables con los mejores estándares que generen empleo y desarrollo en la región. Habilítese para participar en la ronda de fosfatos y aproveche todas las condiciones que ofrece la Agencia Nacional de Minería para el desarrollo de su proyecto. Presente su oferta a través de la plataforma Anna Minería. Agencia Nacional de Minería, por una minería sostenible que construya país.
Excelentes oportunidades las que tiene nuestro país. Ahora invito a...
1, 2, 3, probando. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3. Dr. Juan Miguel, thank you for your participation, and we invite Dr. Oscar Paredes Zapata. Okay, then the presentation. Demand. What is the mining round? Benefits for the country. How do you reach what is the phosphate mining round? Opportunity for development and regional positioning. Alcanzo a leer. No puedo leer todo. Okay, 1 phosphate, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Pantalla de retorno.
Ella es así.
¿Será que es que nos pusimos de acuerdo? No nos llamamos así, nos veníamos de rojo.
Me acordaba que ella siempre se viste.
Esa persona debe conocer esa persona debe conocer la presentación para que le vaya rodando a él, ¿no es cierto? Él va corriendo también. Ah, claro, cuando él pase la diapositiva y se va viendo. Me avisa si puede, si mando ya el anuncio del directo. Ah, bueno, es para saber si ya tienen para revisar acá esta pantallita, si ya se está ponchando lo que ya nos pide. conectando.
Una ayuda, niños, ustedes que lo pueden todo. Necesito un parche que diga Ramiri. No llega.
Ramiriki. Bien, ¿cómo va todo?
¿Cómo te ha ido? Sí. ¿Tú qué? ¿Cómo vas?
No pares. Porque ojalá, sí, porque si no es con ellos.
No, su merced no ponga atención en eso, era un que yo necesitaba tenerlo. Guájame acá. ¿Listo? No. No, está apagado. Tienen 3 minutos, muñecos, hermosos, preciosos. Ya te mandé el otro que te pregunté cómo están. Ya te lo vuelvo a mandar. Andrés, lo tienes.
¿Tú estás seguro que el cable que se sacó? Andrés. Ese es el cable.
Tenemos 5 minutos y iniciamos prueba final con el jefe a bordo.
Explica pantalla. ¿Está ahorita?
Verifícame a las 2 y me mandaste uno.
¿Hablas desde allá o acá? Sí. Ah, bueno, perfecto. Para yo anunciarte de una bajar y no cruzarnos acá.
Súper bien, súper bien.
Que quede bien.
Ya se queda la luz.
Pues yo creería que si algo se puede atenuar para, además porque venimos de video. Venimos de un video, yo creo que la van a atenuar para que se vea, se concentre toda la atención. Oye, divina, ¿qué? Andrea, ¿cómo se le queda?
Ah, sí.
Total, ella es muy inquieta, somos muy inquietas. Qué bueno. No, y veo que muchas personas de buen nivel, digamos, de primaria que copian. O sea, que no solamente lo copian, sino que también están dando la publicidad. Qué chévere.
No, hoy en día todo es redes.
Cambia resolución, ¿no?
Ahí está dando también duro.
Ustedes son muy ricos.
A ver cómo hacemos con esta familia que te escribieron mal ahí.
Pero antes estaban funcionando los dos.
Bueno, sí, vea.
Pero este estaba funcionando, ¿no? ¿Jefe quiere que explica algo?
No, la
reforma legal también es un no, pero es una manera. Sí. No, ya formalmente para que lo vean su nombre. ¿Listo? ¿Ponemos música? Pongamos música mientras iniciamos para que ella ya, cuando inicie a hablar, ustedes apaguen.
Glo, ¿desde dónde voy? ¿Hacemos todo completo o ensayamos la parte del o esperamos?
Hasta que mis demonios decidan atajar.
Durante las intervenciones, por ejemplo, del Doc Juan, ¿van a bajar luces un poco? ¿No? Así tal cual está. Ah, bueno. ¿Y para el video tampoco no? ¿Se quedan tal cual? Sí, no, voy a hacer aquí, estoy pendiente.
¿Qué pasó con la oficial? Necesitaba ver la presentación completa de Sí, pongamos la cita lista, hagamos un tutorial, unos minutos para que te enteres de todo lo que vas a hacer. ¿Sí? Ya, vamos a hacerlo de ceros. Y tú empiezas a rodar todo. Hágalo.
Vamos entonces completo. Desde el minuto de seguridad, ¿sí? Bienvenidos a todos quienes nos acompañan en este recinto. Los
invito por favor a tener en modo de silencio los
Welcome,
equipos
please
celulares. Nos concentremos en
keep your cell phones in mute. And let's concentrate on this safety moment. Welcome to Hilton Bogotá. The hotel has a CCTV monitor 24 hours a day. And we recommend you to take care of your personal objects, as these are your own responsibility. If you have a portable computer, ask the service personnel to lock it. Have your names tag visibly posted, and in case there is any situation that endangers the safety of any people, please keep calm, identify the exits, and activate the emergency system, reporting to any member of the hotel team or activating a manual alarm station. Then stay in your place until you have instructions to go to the exits, which are properly signaled. Follow in an orderly manner the evacuation route until you reach the muster point. Enjoy a safe event. A cordial greeting to everyone. I am Gladys Buitrago, and on behalf of the National Mining Agency, I warmly welcome those who accompany us in person at the launch of the first mining round for phosphate, as well as those who are connected with us via streaming. Welcome, everyone. In order to promote the diversification of the country's mineral basket and the development of the mining sector, the National Mining Agency has structured the second objective selection process for strategic mining areas and the first mining round for phosphates, a mineral that as an input is key for food production and industry uses. Currently, there is a growing demand for this mineral at a national and international level, thus opening an opportunity for the Colombian market. To begin, I invite Dr. Diego Mesa Puyo, Ministry of Mines and Energy, who will welcome all of you in the launch of this phosphate launch for mining areas for phosphate. Mr. Minister, thank you for your words, and I would like to share with you that in Colombia, phosphates have been extracted mainly in the departments of Boyacá and Huila, with an average annual production for the last 5 years of 65,000 tons. That is the reason for the governors of this department, the delegates of this department. Joining us today, I invite Dr. Diliberto Trujillo, Secretary of Agriculture and Mining of the Huila Department. Thank you, Dr. Trujillo, for your words, and now we invite Sí. Dr. Trujillo, thank you for your words, and we now invite Dr. José Moisés Aguirre Sanabria, Mayor of Ramiriquí, Department of Boyacá. Welcome. Thank you, Dr. Aguirre, for your intervention. Now I invite you to watch the launch and presentation video of the country's first phosphate round. Go ahead, please. Ay, no lo van a mostrar, mejor verlo. On the core of the Colombian continent. Eso no se oye también. Tourist development of the country. One of its attractiveness is one of the pillars of the world economy, mining. Coal, gold, are some of them ores that are successfully extracted in Colombia, and the findings of new reservoirs are promising. With this vision, the Colombian government has created the strategic mining areas, opening the doors of this territory with facilities for development of businesses, expeditious awarding process where productivity and social and environmental responsibility are hand in hand. The mining offer is diversified now in the departments of Huila and Boyacá, where new strategic mining areas have been declared in zones with a high potential to large phosphate reservoirs, an essential mineral for human life. Phosphates have a growing demand as input for fertilizers that are necessary for the world production of foods and numerous industry processes. The National Mining Agency has acquired a deep knowledge of the territory, its geology, and the social characteristics, economic and environmental, all of which makes it possible that investors who are interested can develop responsible projects with the best standards that provide development and employment in the region. Get ready to participate in the phosphate route and leverage on the conditions offered by the National Mining Agency for developing your project. Submit your offer through the ANLA Minería platform. National Mining Agency with sustainable mining that builds the country. Bueno.
Excelentes oportunidades las que tiene nuestro país.
Our country has excellent opportunities. Now I invite our host for today. Let us receive Dr. Juan Miguel Durán Prieto, President of the National Mining Agency.
¿Y en ese retorno lo van a activar? No. Con esta que él se ah, ok. Ok.
Esta va con la presentación. Y esta va en el 20. Ah, ok. Perfecto. Todos estamos empezando.
El doctor Durán dijo que él hablaba desde acá.
Hola, hola. Hola, hola, hola. Hola, hola. Hola, hola. Hola, hola.
Listo, continuamos y entra el jefe en realidad virtual y personal.
Ok, ya estamos en que íbamos a probar los bullets de él y la presentación, no lo hemos...
¿Pero en qué punto vas en el ensayo?
En ese, estamos justo haciendo la espera de que ellos lo monten.
Se descarga si lo vemos de una vez en verde porque de pronto el ministro va a tener solo ¿qué hacemos? Ay, gracias. ¿Lo habrá morado o con micrófono? Entonces,
Buenos días, ¿cómo están? Bien, gracias. ¿Voy completo?
Va completo, inicia.
Muy bien.
A la 1, a las 2, a las 3.
Un saludo para todos quienes nos acompañan en esta mañana. Gracias por estar con nosotros.
Cordial greeting for everyone. I invite you to have your cell phones in mute, and we have a safety moment now. Welcome to Hilton Bogota. The hotel has a cloud TV circuit monitored 24 hours a day. We recommend you to take care of your personal objects, as these are your responsibility. You have a computer, ask the service personnel to lock it in case of an emergency that could jeopardize the health and safety of any person. Please keep calm, identify the evacuation route that is closest to you, and activate the emergency system by reporting to any member of the hotel team or activating a manual alarm station. Then stay where you are until you listen a signal or the instructions of the evacuation leaders. Go to the emergency exit that are properly signed. Follow the evacuation route, walking in an orderly, quiet manner until you reach the muster point. Enjoy your safe event. A cordial greeting to everyone. I am Gladys Buitrago, and on behalf of the National Mining Agency, I warmly welcome those who accompany us in person at the launch of the first mining round for phosphates, as well as those who are connected with us via streaming. Welcome, everyone. In order to promote the diversification of the country's mineral basket and the development of the mining sector, the National Mining Agency has structured the second objective selection process for strategic mining areas and the first mining round for phosphates, a mineral that, as an input, is key for food production and industry uses. Currently, there is a growing demand for this mineral at a national and international level, thus opening an opportunity for the Colombian market. To begin, I invite Dr. Diego Mesa Puyo, Minister of Mines and Energy of Colombia, who will give us the welcome words in the launch of these mining areas for phosphates. Thank you, Mr. Minister, for your words. I would like to share with you that in Colombia, phosphates have been extracted mainly in the departments of Boyacá and Huila, with an average annual production for the past 5 years of 65,000 tons. That is a reason for the representatives delegates from these departments are here today. I invite Dr. Humberto Trujillo, Secretary of Agriculture and Mines of the Department of Huila. Dr. Trujillo, thank you for your words. We now invite Dr. José Moisés Aguirre Sanabria, Mayor of Ramiriquí in the Department of Boyacá. Welcome. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your intervention. Now I invite all of you to watch the presentation video of the country's first phosphate round. Go ahead, please. In the core of the American continent, Colombia is a country that generates fascination all over the world. Its richness, its wealth, prepare the work to toward the path towards the country's development. One of its attractive features is one of the pillars of a world's economy, that is mining. Nickel, coal, and gold are some of the minerals that are extracted successfully in Colombia, and the finding of new reservoirs are promising. With this vision, the Colombian government has created the strategic mining areas, opening the doors of its territory with facilities for development of businesses, expeditious awarding process where productivity and social and environmental responsibility walk hand in hand. The mining offer is diversified now in the departments of Huila and Boyacá, where new strategic mining areas have been declared in zones with a high potential to lodge phosphate reservoirs, an essential mineral for human life. Phosphates have a growing demand as an input for fertilizers that are necessary for the wild production of foods and numerous industry processes. The National Mining Agency has acquired a deep knowledge of its territory, the geology, and the social, economic, and environmental conditions, which make it possible for interested investors to develop responsible projects with the best standards that give rise to employment and development in the region. Get ready to participate in the phosphate route and leverage on the conditions offered by the National Mining Agency for the development of your project. Submit your offer through the Andaminería platform. National Mining Agency with a sustainable mining that builds country.
Excelentes oportunidades.
Our country has excellent opportunities. Now I invite our host for today. Let us receive Dr. Juan Miguel Durán Prieto, President of the National Mining Agency. Good morning to you all for the National Mining Agency. Really, it is a special occasion to have you here today in this important launch of our second mining round. But first mining round for phosphates. I would like to welcome Minister Diego Mesa, the Director of the Colombian Geological Service, Oscar Paredes, the Mayor of Ramiriquí, Jose Moises Aguirre, the Agriculture and Mining Secretary of Huila, Alberto Trujillo. I would like to start by letting you know how we are standing with respect to phosphate, the potential and opportunities. First, with respect to production in Colombia, in the past 5 years, there have been approximately 65,000 tons per year, and we have 51 titles of the phosphoric round for exploitation in about 14,362 hectares and exploration in 761 hectares. We have reserved potential in Huila and in Boyacá of nearly 19,200 hectares, 15,900 in Huila and 3,294 hectares in Boyacá. As we know, this important mineral contributes directly to the production of fertilizers in our country, and therefore I would like to highlight the production and demand that we currently have both at national and international levels.
¿No se oye? Mejor. Yo prefiero no porque tenemos cuántas personas. Por eso. Pero igual. Aló.
Sí.
Bueno, es importante.
Okay. These important minerals we know is a basic component for the production of fertilizers, and therefore I would like to highlight the production and demand of fertilizers in Colombia and worldwide. First, the production of fertilizers in Colombia is nearly 1.8 million tons. Imports of fertilizers into our country are close to 0.36 million tons. The demand of fertilizers in Latin America based on phosphorus is 7.2 million tons. The world Here we can see the georeferencing of production and potential of phosphoric rock. These are opportunities for our regions, and here we see that effectively it is concentrated in Norte Santander, Boyacá, and Huila, where effectively Huila is attributed 31% and Boyacá 40%. Here in the zones we can see that we have the titles, request, and potential that are properly reflected. What is the mining round? It is a tool to achieve diversification of ore and foster exploration and production, of course. This tool provides the knowledge of that potential and generates a different process, a flexible process, competitive and transparent with clearly established milestones, and it is a process that identifies areas with a high mining potential. This process starts with a geoscientific analysis of geological data that we have at hand. Here we have a certification that is issued by the Colombian Geophysical Service identifying the high potential, and then the agency reserves these potential areas. There is a diagnosis where we characterize the territory vis-a-vis the road, electric and protected areas, but there's concurrence, consultation, and so forth. What are the benefits for the country? It is an innovative mechanism that enhances the country's competitiveness. It allows attracting investment and resources for exploration. Currently, we have about 2.7% of the country with titles, which means that there is a lot of areas for exploration, and it also contribute to diversification. This is fundamental as we have numerous minerals and we want to benefit from those as a country and contribute to agro sector. What are the benefits for the regions? It activates the productive chains and services, generating additional resources, different considerations other than royalties, and also social investment that is fundamental for our communities through the social management plans, and it will also increase the supply of fertilizers. And what are the benefits for investors? These are consolidated scenarios at a social level where we have already had coordination and concurrence, prior consultations when required. These are contractual competitive conditions other than Law 685, and we also have the baseline performed for environmental impact studies, and we have clear rules with expeditious timing that ensure legal assurance for investors. Now I would like to present the 4 blocks that we are launching in this phosphate mining round 3 in Boyacá. The first one in Ramiriquí, in Ciénaga with 148.
Ciencia hay 2 municipios similares. Okay. Gracias. Bueno, entonces, los 4 bloques.
The 4 blocks.
El primero,
the first one in Ramiriquí and Ciénaga. Ciénaga.
Okay. Miriquí,
Ramiriquí and Ciénega. 148 hectares. We also have another block in Ramiriquí and Ciénega, a small portion with 487 hectares, and in Turmeque with 183 hectares. Now in the department of Huila, we have a block in La Plata and Paicol with 1,019 hectares.
Ok. Así, listo. Listo.
Entonces terminó. What happened con la presentación? Andrés, cambia los teléfonos, presidente. Sigue.
Muy bien. Doctor Juan Miguel, muchas
Dr. Juan Miguel, thank you for your participation. Now I invite Dr. Oscar Paredes Zapata, General Director of the Colombian Geological Survey, to tell us about the regional potential for phosphate minerals. Welcome.
Doctor Paredes, gracias por ese panorama tan
Dr. Paredes, thank you for such interesting panorama that you have just presented to us. I want to tell you that to obtain further information about the strategic mining areas, you can read through the QR, the code that is printed on the light box located at the back of the auditorium. Now you can scan the QR code. I invite you now to watch the following video, which shows us the dissemination process in the regions of the strategic mining areas that are being offered today. Let's see it. Good morning. Uy, despacitico está eso. The National Mining Agency with information about the potential, mineral potential in Colombia. At this time, this public offer of the area of the ANM is accompanied with information about the potential for phosphates in Colombia and the management of information in a data room that has been established by both agencies. The Colombian service for over 100 years and as a science and technology institution generates data and knowledge about the natural medium. In the previous framework, investigating the potential of this wealth of the natural offer in terms of mineral resources, hydrocarbon, underground waters, and thermal resources, and also information about the natural or the restrictions, which are called geothreats, in terms of volcanic and seismic activity, torrential avenues, and mass movements. In terms of mineral resources, the knowledge, geophysical and metallurgical, establishing programs for the investigation of mineral resources to identify zones with this potential and increase the knowledge of what are the mineral resources in our metal and non-metallic resources, evaluating the potential of minerals, identifying areas with mineral potential in Colombia for metal and non-metallic and industrial minerals and energy minerals. What we're interested on is in non-metallic and industrial minerals. How do we conduct research with geological research, geophysical, geochemical, metallurgical, and mineralogical data enable us to identify the areas, what is the mineral potential of the territory, and investigate and then conduct research on minerals. In all of our activities, we have contact with social sectors in the territory, and therefore we start from the social until we get. Partimos de lo social y llegamos a lo social. We start from geological research at the regional level, provided by the basic geoscience of our institution, and we obtain geological data that is more detailed, appropriate to mineral resources. We conduct geochemical research at different scales with further details to see where this mineralization can be. These are conformed by chemical minerals, including rock, salt, water, all the natural media made up of those minerals and chemical compounds. So therefore it is a fundamental tool to identify where those mineral resources are located and also to characterize them. We also conduct research and geophysical surveys to obtain an X-ray inside the subsurface of the territory, what we cannot see on the surface, and then we have sort of an X-ray to see where the minerals have been coming out and where we have rock bodies that could lodge those minerals. We also conduct metallogenic studies, which is nothing else than how those minerals have been produced, what have been the processes that have originated them, and where when they've been generated. For the study of areas with the potential for mineral resources, we first identify, obviously, what is the ore or mineral that we're interested on. We analyze the metallic, genetical characteristics, the appropriate geological environments for that mineral to exist until we identify the mineral deposits. In this regard, the metallic genetical map in the 2020 launch will take place in November in a public event. It becomes a fundamental tool for that prospection of minerals, whether strategic, critical. What is important is to know what is the natural wealth of our territory. We started with a unit where there is potential for mineralization, which we call metallogenic districts, and based on that we coordinate, we integrate all the geochemical, geological, and geophysical and metallogenic data to identify those potential areas. In the case of phosphate that we are focusing on today, it's closely linked to magnesium, and that's why the Mineral Resource Directions has a specific team and a specific project devoted to the exploration and prospection of phosphate and magnesium, based on a duty assigned by the nation for agricultural use minerals, where the Geological Service has the mission of researching where we can have that prospectivity and potential for potassium, phosphorus, magnesium, calcium, and other minerals that are used as precursors for our agro-industry and to have food security for our country. In this regard, we identify all these areas in Colombia in terms of what are the units that have content of phosphatic minerals. As we can see in the view graph, we identify and conduct detailed studies to identify where those mineral bearing units are located. We have carried out detailed investigation for phosphoric rocks in Huila, Santander, Cauca, and in some other regions close to Cucuta and also in other regions. And north of Santander, we have a detailed mapping of 1 to 25,000 focused on exploitation of phosphoric and magnesium rock. And in this regard, we have several studies of this detailed exploration for magnesium in Huila. The two fundamental studies that we are working on and providing for this public offer of areas is the geological exploration of phosphates in the Boyacá block and geological exploration in the department of Huila. The studies will be published and can be consulted in our webpage later on after this public offer, and they have been concluded by our institution. We conduct those studies by locating all of the sections, stratigraphic sections in the study region. We carry out a survey detail by detail, and we analyze the characteristics of the phosphatic rock, and we carry out the characterization of an ore and other accompanying ores in terms of other chemical elements, and that's why chemistry is so important here. Based on this information, the ANM selects areas and makes all the cross references with other information where, for example, there are restrictions with the mining titles, and it finally selects areas for the public offer that is launched today. This is just to show you how this identification takes place of phosphatic levels in a territory, and then we have the geological data that is much more detailed concerning the stratigraphy, or what is the location of the strata, because this type of mineralization are known as confined strata because they are found in layers, and we study each layer, defining the characteristics of the phosphoric rock lots in that strata, what are the characteristics and the potential they have in terms of resources. We have a social mapping of the area in question, and we have all this information in our Explora database, and we have also provided for the data room standardized information, raw data, evaluation of the mineral potential that can be consulted by the different interested parties in this virtual room that has been optimized by the Colombian Geological Service and the National Mining Agency. We have data of a technical nature, social and environmental information, as well as the regulatory aspects for this public offer that is taking place. We have a supporting technology. It's accessible to everyone with security related to consultation and information, and access to information that is conveyed and managed entirely by the ANM, and it manages access to that information by the Colombian Geological Service. So we have two regions, Boyacá and Huila, and each of the two folders has legal regulatory information about the selection process being carried out by the ANM, technical data, technical opinions that have been prepared by the ANM with a technical team, where they have extracted information and part of the information from studies provided by the Colombian Geological Service with regional detailed stratigraphic geochemical features of mineral mining potential in the selection of areas carried out by the National Mining Agency. We also have social environmental information obtained by the ANM in each of the areas of interest. This is mirrored in Boyacá and Huila, and the information is available in the data room. The user of the data room will have a password provided by the ANM for a given time according to their request and agreement with the agency, and they will have access to a mapped unit which is supervised by the service, where we review the activity to provide all the security required in this process. No duplication or copying or downloading of information out of the data room is allowed. And this is just an example of access to the data room. This is what we wanted to mention. Our technical information services available to all of the interested parties and to the ANM through the data room, and subsequently it will be information that can be consulted later on about the details of our service, Colombian Geological Service, and we would like to invite you to participate in this public offer that is so important for the mining and energy sector, and also for the country in general, and for all of our productive sector. Thank you.
Muchísimas gracias por este
Programa tan interesante que nos acaba de presentar el Servicio Geológico Colombiano. Quiero contarles que para obtener mayor información de las áreas estratégicas mineras lo pueden hacer a través del código QR que se encuentra impreso en la caja de luz ubicada en la parte de atrás del auditorio. Ahora les invito para que observemos el video que nos presenta cómo ha sido el proceso de divulgación en las regiones de las áreas estratégicas mineras que se están ofertando. Veamos.
La Agencia Nacional de Minería ha venido fortaleciendo el proceso de las áreas estratégicas mineras mediante espacios de relacionamiento social donde se han desarrollado talleres presenciales en los municipios de Ciénaga, Turmequé, Ramirquí en el departamento de Boyacá y en el departamento del Huila en los municipios de Paicol y La Plata. Además de desarrollarse 2 talleres virtuales dirigidos a las comunidades y los consejos municipales, en estos espacios se ha logrado contar con la participación de actores institucionales, actores sociales y representantes del consejo de estos municipios, lo que permitió conocer las dudas, las expectativas y los aspectos a considerarse en el proceso de delimitación y declaración de las áreas estratégicas mineras. La Agencia Nacional de Minería se encuentra comprometida con seguir fortaleciendo los procesos de relacionamiento y coordinación con los territorios.
Muy bien, con este recuento audiovisual del proceso que nos permite hoy presentar y ofertar las áreas estratégicas mineras para fosfatos en el país, damos por terminado nuestro evento, no sin antes recordarles que a partir de este día estará abierto el cuarto de datos para que los interesados puedan acceder a la información de las áreas estratégicas mineras. Asimismo, a partir del 20 de noviembre se recibirán las primeras ofertas. Es así como invitamos a todas las empresas interesadas a habilitarse a través de la plataforma Ana Minera, que es un proceso gratis y solo deberán hacerlo. Ok, estaba minería entonces. Ana Minería. Entonces, Ana Minería, que es un proceso gratis y solo deberán hacerlo por una única vez. Agradecemos su asistencia y participación. 22 de noviembre, muy bien. Gracias, 22 de noviembre. Muchas gracias por las precisiones. Asimismo, a partir del 22 de noviembre se recibirán las primeras ofertas. Es así como invitamos a todas las empresas interesadas a habilitarse a través de la plataforma Ana Minería, que es un proceso gratis y solo deberán hacerlo por una única vez. Agradecemos su asistencia y participación a este importante lanzamiento que presenta una oportunidad para que Colombia diversifique su matriz de minerales. Hasta una próxima oportunidad. Feliz día.
Hola, sí, said to myself, I just
Un saludo para todos, muy buenos días. Gracias por acompañarnos en esta jornada. Los invitamos, por favor, a tomar sus lugares. Aprovecho la oportunidad para que tengamos en modo de silencio los equipos celulares o apagados si lo prefieren. Y los invito, por favor, a estar también muy atentos al minuto de seguridad.
Bienvenido a Hilton Bogotá.
Welcome to Bogota Hilton. The hotel has a cloud TV circuit monitored 24 hours a day. We recommend you to take care of your personal belongings, as these are your responsibility. If you have a portable computer, ask the service personnel to secure it. Keep your name tag visible, and in case of an emergency that could jeopardize the health and safety of any person, please keep calm. Identify the evacuation route that is closest to you and activate the emergency system by reporting any hotel member or activating a manual station. Stay until there where you are until getting instructions. Go to the exits that are properly signaled. Follow the evacuation route, walking orderly and in silence until you get to the muster point. Enjoy your safe event.
Para quienes acaban de hacer su ingreso al recinto, los invito.
Please take your seat, put your cell phones in mute, and we will start soon.
Un saludo para todos.
A cordial greeting to everyone. Please take seat. We will start immediately. A cordial greeting to everyone. I am Gais Buitrago Caicedo, and on behalf of the National Mining Agency, I warmly welcome those who are accompanying us in person at the launch of the first mining round for phosphates, as well as those who are connected with us via streaming. Welcome, everyone. In order to promote the diversification of the country's mineral basket and the development of the mining sector, the National Mining Agency has structured the second objective selection process for strategic mining areas on the first mining round for phosphates, a mineral that, as an input, is key for food production and industry uses. Currently, there is a growing demand for this mineral at a national and international level, thus opening an opportunity for the Colombian market. To begin, I invite Dr. Diego Mesa Puyo, Minister of Mines and Energy of Colombia, who will welcome all of you in the launch of these strategic mining areas for phosphates. Mr. Minister. Good morning to you all. Warmest regard to all of those who are with us virtually or in face-to-face. We have the president of A&M, the director of the Geological Survey, and the mayor who honors us as a representative of one of the areas that will be presented in this new round of strategy mining areas. I would like to highlight the importance of the fact that in less than 1 year we have another event like this where we have again offered 4 new areas with prospectivity with respect to phosphates, an essential element due to the strategic component of phosphoric rock for production of fertilizers, ceramics, and other industry uses, and that we all know there is a high demand both at national and international levels. Very likely, Dr. Juan Miguel will explain in detail each of these 4 blocks that are being offered as part of the strategic mining areas process, which is the completion of a work that has been carried out since 2012 and 2015, when the strategic importance minerals were declared, and the strategic round that we put into effect in this administration. I would also like to recognize the geological surveys, because these rounds became a reality thanks to their efforts, Dr. Paredes, to increase knowledge, geoscientific data, and geophysical and chemical information, and we know there has been an important increase in this regard, which enables us to further know the subsurface in Colombia to carry out this type of mechanisms. Furthermore, this enables us to progress because Colombia has a great potential in minerals to diversify the mining basket and to have new metallic minerals and phosphoric rock, for example, that are essential but are not being produced at a large scale in the country. I am very pleased to be here once again and thinking that we can move from the less than 3% of the title territory to expand and make real diversification, leveraging on the good moment that Colombia is undergoing. Currently, the international mining markets, we know that the Bradel Institute has also positioned us in the ranking in their annual mining ranger as jurisdiction #1 to attract mining investment in Latin America, and we must also take advantage of all that is happening in commodities prices that have an upward trend, and we are now benefiting from this potential to continue positioning Colombia in the medium term. And mining should be a fundamental part of the economic development and social development of Colombia as the beginning of the republic with respect to the contribution of the GDP, almost 2% in the last 10 years. more than 10 billion pesos in revenues for the country by means of royalties, taxes, and other economic rights. Also in the trade balance representing more than one of each every 3 pesos through the royalty system. So I am very pleased to start this important event and also congratulate the National Mining Agency for their proactivity in getting started with these mining areas, with all the efforts required for investors to have this new way of awarding mining projects. Thank you to you all. Thank you, Mr. Minister, for your words. I would like to share with you that in Colombia, phosphates have been extracted mainly in the departments of Boyacá and Huila, with an average annual production for the last 5 years of 65,000 tons. That is the reason for having with us Dr. Jose Moises Aguirre Sanabria, Mayor of Ramiriquí in the department of Boyacá. Mr. Mayor, I pass the floor now to you. My greetings to all of you, Mr. Minister, the Director of the National Mining Agency, Dr. Paredes, entrepreneurs, and all those who are interested specifically in this economic strategy that the Colombian government intends very successfully to maximize, seeking for diversification of revenues that are so badly needed throughout the Colombian territory. Ramiriquí is a municipality in the center of the Boyacá department. It's a capital of the province that gathers 10 municipalities with an agro-pastoral vocation. And in spite that Boyacá is a department devoted mainly to mining, the Marques region is not that. This region to a large extent depends on the agricultural sector, and therefore now being the focus of part of the strategic area is of great interest for the local authorities as well as for the communities, because we must seek the right strategy to reach somehow the people and to persuade all of the social actors that mining, when it is properly developed, does not oppose, but on the contrary, it complements the economic development that historically we have carried out based on the agro-pastoral industry. It is important to have an opinion from the local authorities with respect to potential investment and mining development in a non-mining territory. It is largely stigmatized, and there's speculations and populist actors, and also there is a negative influence from organizations or people in the social area that have other interests against the mining activity, and that prevents the investment and economic development of these sectors. Therefore, from a local perspective, I would like to state that to the extent that the Colombian government uses the right strategies to inform on how we could develop mining at this scale in a new territory is of great importance. Approaching the mayors, the councilmen, the community leaders will be very beneficial to facilitate the arrival of this new economic alternative. From Ramiriquí, we want all this process to be successful, and as mayor, we offer to be facilitators of this whole information process, all this seeking for strategies and to cooperate so that the communities are properly informed. It is quite important for a farmer who historically has lived from the use of land, and the area in Ramiriquí and Ciénega have very productive lands, and therefore we must be even more persuasive to demonstrate that these two economic factors can coexist in a satisfactory manner, and thus prove to the youth, because I understand that the policy of the new regulations issued by the National Mining Agency intends to involve them in these new productive stages and to prevent their leaving the land from the rural districts or small towns like ours, going to the cities where they don't have too much of opportunities, so that they can realize that through these investment strategies there is an alternative to stay in their territory and make the area more productive, not only for their own benefit in a direct influence area, but also that the indirect scenario of the community can see how a mining project that is properly developed with sustainable notions can benefit all the communities. And therefore, Mr. Minister, Dr. Paredes, Mr. Director, and dear investors, here you have a partner to work hand in hand with the communities. We will try to find a way to have a positive impact, and when necessary to be able to discuss at the time at the venue that is prudent, to agree with the communities on the activities to develop and to diminish or reduce any impact, to mitigate that impact from mining, and the communities, opposite to being opposers, would become cooperators, so that the government strategy of increasing economic revenues through this important line of the economy will also reach our territories. Thank you for this invitation. I'm very pleased to be here and to be able to tell you that we are ready to assist in such an important project, as long as our communities can benefit directly from them. Thank you.
Señor alcalde José Moisés Aguirre Sanabria, muchísimas gracias por sus palabras. A continuación, les invito para que observemos.
Next, I invite you to watch the launch and presentation video of the country's first phosphate round. In the core of the American continent, Colombia is a country that generates fascination throughout the world. Its beauty, the people, and its economic drive prepare the path to the development of the country. Some of its appeals is one of the pillars of the world's economy, that is mining. Nickel, coal, and gold are some of the minerals that are extracted successfully in Colombia, and the finding of new deposits are promising. With this vision, the Colombian government has created the strategic areas in mining, opening the doors of the territory with facilities for development of businesses, expeditious awarding processes where productivity and social and environmental responsibility walk hand in hand. The mining offer is diversified in the departments of Huila and Boyacá, where new strategic mining areas have been declared in areas with a high potential for phosphate reservoirs, an essential mineral for human life. Phosphates have a growing demand as an input for fertilizers and the world production of foods and numerous industry uses. The national agency has a deep knowledge of the territory, its geology, and the social characteristics as well as economic and environmental features that enable investors who are interested to develop responsible projects with the best standards for employment and development in the region. Get ready to participate in the phosphate round and take advantage of all the conditions offered by the National Mining Agency for developing your project. Submit your offer through the Ana Minería platform, the National Mining Agency for a sustainable mining that builds countries.
Excelentes oportunidades.
Our country has excellent opportunities. Now I invite our host for today. Let us receive Dr. Juan Miguel Durán Prieto, President of the National Mining Agency. Thank you, Gladys. Well, special greetings to our Minister Diego Mesa, the Mayor of Ramiriquí, Jose Moises Aguirre, the Director of the Colombian Geophysical Service, Dr. Oscar Paredes, and obviously to all those of you who are present in this important launch. As you well know, early this year we launched the first mining round in copper, and today we are pleased to launch this first phosphate round. And therefore, I would like to provide you with some details about this novel procedure, but also letting you know the first blocks that we are offering, not only as regards their specifications, but the opportunity for entrepreneurs and investors and the associations to become acquainted with. First of all, through the streaming and those present, I would like to tell you what is the important potential that we have in Colombia as regards phosphates. Not only the potential, but the opportunities that today we will find in this launching, and I would like to stress that these are the first of many blocks. We have a mining round process that is permanent, which means that over time we will be including more and more blocks. So I would like to underline that the production of phosphates in Colombia on average in the past 5 years has been nearly 65,000 tons per year. We have 51 titles of phosphoric rock in nearly 15,000 hectares, which are split in exploitation in 14,362 hectares and in exploration 761 hectares. Likewise, we have reserved with the potential in Boyacá and Huila approximately 19,200 hectares. In Huila we have 15,930 hectares, and in Boyacá 3,294 hectares. However, the Geological Service in Colombia has identified as promissory areas for phosphate nearly 3,613,831 hectares in 5 departments. On the other hand, as we all know, this important ore is a basic component for the production of fertilizers, and therefore I would like to share with you, with respect to production and demand, what is the position of Colombia in the world. First of all, we see that the production of fertilizers in Colombia is close to 1.8 million tons. Then, with respect to fertilizer imports based on phosphates or phosphorus, we have 0.36%, 36 million tons, nearly 17%, which means that there is a potential in the domestic market to be able to satisfy not only through this round, but also with the new titles that we can obtain for phosphoric rock, and also the demand of fertilizers based on phosphorus is 7.2 million tons, and the world demand for fertilizers based on phosphorus is 42 million tons. This is an important potential that we should benefit from. and this is fostered through knowledge and an efficient process for more investors and businessmen to be familiarized with such an important potential, which is reflected in this map that has been georeferenced with the production and potential of phosphoric rock. We can see that this is an opportunity for the regions that is mostly concentrated in the departments of Huila, Boyacá, Norte, Santander, with about 31% in Huila, 40% in Boyacá. With respect to phosphoric rock production, here you can see not only zones that have a potential, but the titles and requests that are current. What is the phosphate mining round? We should highlight several aspects. First of all, it is a tool for diversifying our mining basket and fostering exploration. As the minister mentioned, less than 3%, that is 2.7%, we have in the country, and that's why we want to foster that exploration, and the mining round contribute to do this knowledge fostering in our country. This is a flexible, competitive, transparent process where we clearly establish the timings that are rigorous, and it generates more reliability as regards the processes and identification of the high potential, as the Colombian Geological Survey has set for these blocks that we are offering today. As regards the strategy, I would like to highlight the different steps that are fundamental to generate the peace of mind among the investors, and this is one of the appeals, because as you can see, first it starts with an analysis of the geoscientific data. We deepen in this knowledge, and this is where the Colombian Geophysical Service certifies the high potential of the minerals that we disseminate among interested investors. Furthermore, the National Mining Agency reserves these areas with potential. Then it is characterized with a diagnosis of the road and electricity infrastructure of the zones, and we also carry out the coordination and concurrence, as the mayor mentioned, with respect to the socialization of information. What is there in the municipality as regards titles, potential, and requests, because that gives rise to closeness to the territorial agencies and with the communities. We also carry out prior consultations when necessary. This is a consultation together with the Ministry of Interior, and we also delimit the areas finally. Then we start the objective selection process that I will be explaining in further details. What are the benefits for the country? It is important to highlight this because, as I mentioned, this is an innovative mechanism that improves competitiveness of the country. We all know that a person who is interested in undertaking a mining activity has to find a free area and then go to the National Mining Agency for obtaining an evaluation from a technical, legal, and financial aspects, and then there is coordination and agreement to go to the public audience. This is the benefit of the mining rounds because it's something different as compared with what is ordinarily done. Now, as an agency, government, and as a country, we are disseminating this high potential data and generating a competitive process. It also enables us to attract investments that is fundamental to leverage on the mining potential of our country, generating resources for exploration that of course is fundamental. And finally, to highlight that, as we have already noted, we are fostering the mining basket, and that's why we are now carrying out the first round on phosphates, and subsequently we will have on other mining rounds. What are the benefits for the regions? First, it makes the economies more dynamic, the regional economies, not only with new titles and new beneficiaries, but we all know that mining also implies chains, productive chains, that are linked to agriculture and with other minerals such as handicrafts, jewelry, and other activities, and also services, other sectors that are reactivated, that are necessary for the mining activity. Also, it generates additional resources other than royalties, so that makes a difference as regards what is provided for in Law 685. And finally, it is worth mentioning social investment through these social management plans, and it is an initial communication with the territory where we communicate what are the resources that are committed and how best investing those as regards the needs of the community. And obviously this can increase the supply of fertilizers, and to a certain extent this could reduce costs of production. What are the benefits for investors? These are consolidated scenarios, as I have mentioned, where we already have a coordination and agreement with the mayors, that socialization of what is the potential and what we effectively have as information for the mayors and governors to be the first spokespersons in the territory, hand in hand with the National Mining Agency. We also make prior consultations as necessary, which contributes to help us progress in a safe manner within these processes. Also, there are contractual competitive conditions other than those set out, as I have already mentioned, through our code of mines. And also there are clear rules and timings that gives rise to legal security for investors. And also worth mentioning is the work that is performed with the ANLA, the environmental authorities, for the baseline as regards environmental impact studies. We all know that this is very attractive in these mining rounds, and it helps to consolidate the baseline that is required to then obtain the environmental tool that is crucial to reach that exploitation phase. Now I would like to inform you about these 4 initial blocks.
These are permanent rounds. Today we're launching 4 blocks, but through time we will be launching more and more blocks with the support of the Colombian Geological Service and the important work that is being carried out in this procedure. So these 3 areas located in Boyacá. The first one, as you can see, is located in Ramiriquí and in Ciénega, a small part. We're talking about 148 hectares. On the right side, you can see the second area, 487 hectares, also in Ramiriquí and in Ciénaga. And on the bottom part, you can see an area of 183 hectares in Turmeque. These are located in Boyacá, and in Huila we're also launching the 4th block in La Plata and Paicol of 1,119 hectares. To wrap up, just to remind you how this process is taking place for those of you who are interested, this is an agile process. This is a process that can be carried out even with the support of our promotion team. We have a team that is fully devoted to provide support to national and international investors so that they can become familiar of the requirements and the requisites in order to participate. So today, as you will know, we're launching this round. This is October 19, and then on November 22nd, we will receive all the bids. This time takes place so that those companies or people who are not enabled or qualified at this time, they can do it virtually in a very easy way. So the process is open, then we will the first offer or bid will be received. That's when the terms will begin. With that first offer or bid, there will be counter offers by those enabled, and then once we have a counter offer, we will have an opportunity to improve the counter offer by the first proponent or bidder. Then there is a final evaluation report, and then the contract will be entered into and registered. I want to highlight that those natural and legal persons or entities are welcome. The qualification process is free, and the Geological Service has enabled a data room so that those who are interested in the process can refer to that and look at the technical information and to decide whether to participate or not. Those who are qualified not only can they participate in this phosphates route, but in the copper ones and subsequent rounds that we will do, like the gold one, which we expect to carry out by the end of this year or early next year. So we want to please rest assured you will have the information, the support by the National Mining Agency, so that this new form of contracting and to communicating the huge potential of Colombia and the different minerals like copper and today phosphates becomes a reality. Thank you very much.
Gracias a usted.
Thank you, Dr. Juan Miguel Duran. Thank you for your intervention. We will call Dr. Oscar Zapata, who's the director of the Colombian Geological Service, so he can speak about the regional potential. The floor is yours. Thank you, Gladys. Good morning, everyone. To the Minister Diego Mesa, to the Director of the Mining Agency, Juan Miguel Duran, Engineer Jose Moises Aguirre, Major of Ramiriquí, representatives of the mining companies, ladies and gentlemen who are interested in this objective selection process in area of mining strategic zones. The Colombian Geological Service, as the science technology entity, is responsible for generating and managing the geoscientific information of Colombia related to the natural restrictions of the territory in terms of earthquakes, volcanoes, and mass movements. On the other part, with respect to the potential of our territory, the entity is generating information on the potential of mineral resources, hydrocarbons, underground waters, geothermal, among others. From its creation in 1916, the Colombian Geological Service has produced geoscientific information and has contributed to the geological knowledge of the Colombian territory, as well as the identification of the natural resources contained within the territory. So this is how, after the First World War in last century, the coal supply was suspended for the railway operation, as well as the cement and iron needed for the construction in our area. So this is something that we were importing at that time because we were not aware of the potential of our natural resources, such as iron, limestone, and coal. So we had to do studies by the Geological Service in the 30s and 40s last century to uncover the reservoirs that gave rise to the coal mining in the north area of the country, and the investigation of the limestones that led to the creation of the first cement company, the country Cementos Boyacá, and iron, which enabled the creation of the first entity called Acerías Paz del Río. For more than 100 years, the Geological Service has continued contributing to the knowledge of minerals like iron, limestone, phosphates, coal, gold, and other metal and non-metal minerals, which are essential for the development of Colombia. The Colombian Geological Service has established and developed extensive geology programs, geochemistry and geophysics programs, so that based on high quality and relevance information, the productive sectors can utilize the natural resources for the harmonious and sustainable development of the different regions. Following the policy of the national government to diversify the supply of minerals, the Geological Service has intensified its programs of strategic mineral prospecting, such as phosphates, and is providing information on potential mineral for the processes being undertaken by the National Mining Agency at this time. The Geological Service is managing geoscientific information of the Colombian territory produced by the entity in its projects and by third parties through the information to the data banks on the geological threats and the potential of resources on the subsurface, and the oil and mining data banks, which provide information on the territory so that it can be provided at the service of the country. As a reflection of the collaborative work between the National Mining Agency and the Colombian Geological Service, and a support to this selection process, we have information on the mineral potential based on which the agency, applying technical and regulatory criteria, has selected areas of strategic reserve. It is important to highlight the Colombia needs to benefit from the natural wealth that the Colombian territory has, as phosphates, magnesium, potassium, calcareous, and other minerals, which are used to make sure that the agricultural crops are efficient, and that way we can achieve the food security that the country needs at present. The technical director of the institution virtually will explain very briefly in more detail some aspects related to the information provided by the Geological Service, so that this process through a virtual data bank. I'll pass the floor to Dr. Gloria Prieto, who is the technical director of the Colombian Geological Service. Good morning, everyone. The Colombian Geological Service is providing support to the National Mining Agency with information on the mineral potential in Colombia. This time, we're supporting this public area offer that is provided by the ANM with information on the potential for phosphates in Colombia, and with the management of information on a data bank that has been established by the two institutions. The Colombian Service, for more than 100 years as a science and technology institution, is generating information on the natural environment used and benefit of the Colombian society. The former framework is investigating the potential of this wealth that has been provided by the natural territory in terms of mineral resources, underground waters, hydrocarbon, and geothermal resources. And it is also providing information on the restrictions, on the natural restrictions, also known as geothreats, in terms of volcano and seismic activity and mass movements. In terms of mineral resources, it has been establishing and increasing the knowledge in terms of geology, metallurgy, establishing programs for investigation of mineral resources to identify areas with this type of potential and to increase the knowledge of which are the mineral resources contained in the territory, which are metal or not metal, industrial, and evaluating the mineral potential, identifying areas with mineral potential in Colombia, for metal and non-metal and industrial minerals, and for energy minerals. At this time, what we're dealing with are the non-metal and industrial metals. As how are we investigating these? We're using geological information and geophysical, metallogenic, and mineralogy investigations, which allow us to identify which are those areas, what's the mineral potential of the territory, and to identify the minerals in Colombia. And throughout our work, we maintain contact with social sectors coexisting in these territories, and this is why we are based on the social aspect to get to the social as a part of a permanent interaction in the territories of study. We're based on geological investigation, the regional geological information provided by the geoscience division of our institution, and we are gathering geological information, detailed information, which is appropriate for mineral resources. We're conducting geochemical investigation at different scales and in the level of detail to determine where this mineral can be located, because they include chemical elements and they include rocks, soil, water, the whole. They're all containing these type. This is why the geochemistry is a fundamental tool to identify where these mineral resources are located and to characterize those mineral resources. And we're also conducting investigations and geophysical surveying, because the geophysics allows us to have an X-ray or detailed information within the territory. Whatever we cannot see on surface, it will allow us to have a better perspective in terms of the mineralizing fluids, but where we can find bodies of rock that may contain this type of mineralization. We're also doing metallogenic studies, which indicates how these minerals have been produced, which have been the processes that gave rise to those minerals, and where are they located, and in which periods they took place. For the area study with potential of mineral resources, we'll first identify what type of mineral we're interested in. We'll look at the different metallogenetic characteristics, the adequate geological environments to contain these minerals, and to identify the mineral deposits that we can have in the different areas. So in this regard, the map of Colombia in 2020, this is in November, we will prepare one in a public event. It's becoming a fundamental tool for this mineral prospecting, whether strategic, critical. The important thing is to know exactly what type of wealth are we having in the territory. So we're based on a unit where we may find potential and possibilities to have the mineralization. They're called metallogenic districts, and based on this, we can integrate all the information, the geological, geophysical, and metallogenic information to identify those areas with potential. In the case of phosphates that we have to deal with today, it is closely related to magnesium, and this is why the Colombian Service and its directorate has a specific group and a specific project devoted to prospecting and the exploration of phosphates and magnesium, in accordance to the duty that the nation has established through a compass, where the Geological Service in Colombia has the mission to investigate where can these prospects or the potential be found for potassium, phosphorus, magnesium, for calcium, and other minerals that are normally used as precursors for our agro industry, and to ensure food security in the country. In this regard, we are identifying all the different areas at the level of Colombia in terms of the bearing units or units that contain phosphate minerals, as you can see on the slide. We also identify and we conduct detailed studies in order to identify where these mineral bearing units are located. We have conducted detailed exploration for phosphoric rock in Boyacá, Huila, Santander, Tolima, Cauca, and also in some regions in very close to Cúcuta, and in other areas and in the north of Santander. Then a geological cartography is established, focused on the exploration of phosphoric rock and magnesium. And in this regard, we have several studies of this detailed exploration for magnesium in Huila. The two fundamental studies that we are currently providing for this public area bed is the exploration of phosphates in the Boyacá block and the geological exploration in the department of Huila. Studies will be published. They can be seen and later on our web page after this public tender, and they have been completed by the institution. How are we doing these studies? We do a location of the stratigraphic section in the area of study where we gather the details and we look at the characteristics of that phosphatic rock at the different levels. And then we do the characterization as a mineral, and we do the characterization of other chemical agents. And this is why the chemistry here is so important. Based on this information, the National Mining Agency selects the areas. Then they match the information with other data where we may find restrictions and mining titles, and then they select the areas for the public offer or bid that is launched today. This is just to give you an overview in terms of how we're conducting this identification of the different phosphate levels at the territorial level, and then more detailed geological information is gathered on the stratigraphic, or which are the levels or the strata, because this type of mineralization they are known as confined stratum. They're located in layers, and what we study is each layer to determine the potential, which are the characteristics of that phosphoric rock that is accommodated in that level, which are the characteristics and what's the potential that it has in terms of resources. Then we establish a social map of the areas visited, and this information is available in our information database, which is called Explora. And for this data room, we have standardized information, raw data, reports on mineral potential, which may be seen by the different stakeholders. In this virtual data room that has been optimized by the Geological Service and by the National Mining Agency, it contains technical information, social information, and environmental information, and the regulatory framework that applicable to this public tender. We have a support technology that is very accessible for everyone. There is certainty about the different consultation and the information. We have established a process to access that information that is communicated and managed by the mining agency, and access is managed to that information through the Geological Service in Colombia. In this case, we have this information for Boyacá and Huila, and each of the 12 major folders include information, legal information, regulatory information of the selection process being carried out by the ANM, technical information, technical concept reports prepared by the National Mining Agency with its technical team. where they have extracted information, and part of the information of the studies provided by the Geological Service in Colombia, where we have stratigraphic information, geochemical characteristics of minerals, the mining potential, and the area selection done by the ANM. We also have socio-environmental information gathered by the National Mining Agency in each of the areas of interest. The same process is conducted for Boyacá and Huila, and this information is available in the data room. The user of the data room will have a password provided by the National Mining Agency for a certain period of time based on an agreement with the agency, and the parties may have access to a unit that is mapped or supervised by the Geological Service, where we look at the activity in order to make sure that there's sufficient security in the process. No duplication or downloading of information is allowed outside the data room, and software knowledge is required. So this is just an example of access to the data room. This is what we wanted to share with you. Our information at Geological Service, the technical information is also available to all the different stakeholders and to the National Mining Agency as indicated through the data room, and it will be subsequently this information can be referred to afterwards in the Geological Service. This is what we wanted to mention, and we want to invite you to participate in this public tender, which is really important for the mining and energy sector, and also for our country and for our entire productive sector. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to the Colombian Geological Service, Dr. Oscar Paredes, Dr. Gloria Prieto, for such an interesting panorama that you have presented. To the Minister of Mines, thank you so much for sharing with us. We know your commitments, and we want to express our gratitude. Let's give him a round of applause to Dr. Diego Mesa, the Minister of Mines and Energy in our country, for joining us today in this launching. Thank you, Mr. Minister. We will continue with the agenda that we have to share with you, because I want to tell you that in order to obtain further information, the strategic areas, this is something that you can do through the QR that is printed and the light box located on the back of the auditorium, so that you can gain access to further information. And now I invite you to watch the following video, which shows us the dissemination process in the regions of the strategic mining areas that are being offered today. Let's see.
The National Mining Agency has strengthened the process of strategic mining areas through spaces of social engagement, where we have developed face-to-face workshops in Ciénaga, Turmeque, Ramiriquí, in the Boyacá department, and in the department of Huila and the municipalities of Paicol and La Plata. Furthermore, besides the two workshops for communities and local councils, we have had participation of institutional social actors and representatives of the councils of the municipalities, which enabled us to know the debt's expectations and aspects for consideration in the process of declaration of strategic areas. The National Mining Agency is committed to strengthening the processes of engagement and coordination with the territories. Very well, with this audiovisual account of the process that allows us today to present and offer the strategic mining areas for phosphates in the country, we conclude our event, not without reminding you that from this day on, the data room will be open so that interested parties can access information on strategic mining areas. Likewise, as of November 22nd, the first offers will be received. This is how we invite all interested companies to qualify through the Ana Minería platform, which is a free process and it is a one-time requirement. We thank you for your attendance and participation via streaming in this important launch, which represents an opportunity for Colombia to diversify its mineral metrics. Until the next time, have a good day.